First, I want to say I don't know 100% why I'm doing this video, but it has been on my heart and on my mind to do this for a while. I have a huge stack of papers next to me because what I'm about to say is 100% true, and I am not doing this for likes or subscribes. I'm always worried about that. I don't know why, but I want to talk to you about something that's been going on in my life for a very long time, and hopefully it is the end of the journey, because I recently just had my now I believe 7th or 8th surgery. I don't know how many it's been. I'm losing track. And so I've been healing from that surgery, and there's been a little lapse in videos, but I wanted to take this moment to sit down while I could and kind of fill you in on a little bit more about me than just my gardening and my love of indoor and outdoor gardening and homesteading. I also want to preface, if you have little children, this may not be the video for them to watch. Okay, so let's get started. In 2011, I was 36 years old. I was going to have a plastic surgery, and I had to have some tests done before that surgery, and I went and had a mammogram, which at 36 years old is pretty young. It's not usually recommended, which I wish they would. If you can get one before you're 40, I highly recommend it. So I went and had a mammogram, and some things came back with that were of concern, and so they sent me for an ultrasound. And I do remember having the ultrasound, and I could physically see something was not right on the ultrasound, and really kind of started bothering me, and what's going on. And they told me, don't worry about it. This is all just protocol. This is what they do. And after that one came back that there was inconclusive things and they needed to take a bigger look at it, I was recommended to go see an oncologist. And again, don't worry. It's just what we do. So I went to an oncologist, and they wanted to do a biopsy, and they did it right then and there. And my husband was with me. And if I ever say we, I want to say that my husband and I are very much a united front, and if there is a decision to be made, it is definitely done between the two of us. And even though my best interest was always at heart, and if I wanted to do something, he was supportive, but it was always discussed. So we were at the biopsy together and got sent home, and we'll call you as soon as we find out anything. And we just sat around and waited. And it was a couple of days later that I got a phone call, actually while I was at my work office. It was right at 5 o'clock. I was getting ready to leave, and they called my cell phone and said, "Are you driving? Are you in a space that we can speak to you?" And they told me that I had breast cancer. So of course that hit pretty hard. We didn't know anything other than I was positive for cancer. And we went home and we prayed together, and we went to church together, and we just kind of surrounded ourselves with church family. And then we went and told my mom and dad, and we made some other phone calls to the in-laws and let everybody know what was going on, but we didn't have any information at that time. So then a few days later, we went back to the oncology doctor's office, and they sat us down, and that's where a lot of this paperwork comes from now that I have saved over the years. And I was an estrogen positive cancer, so an ER positive cancer, and I had several tumors. Most of them were stage 1. There was one tumor that was a stage 1B, so it was going to be a stage 2. And they said that my estrogen was out of control in my body, and that I needed to shut down my reproductive organs immediately. And there was so much information coming up at us at that time. We didn't know what decision would be the right one. And this is a message that I'd like to get out to a lot of people. If they are scheduling things out, if this happens to you or a family member, and they're saying, okay, we're going to set this appointment up here, and then we plan on doing this, and maybe your surgery is going to be a month, we'll try and get you on the books. You are not going to have a life-changing event in the next 24 hours that you can't go home and breathe. Go home and breathe and pray and talk to family members and make the decisions that are best for you. Maybe get a second opinion. Seek out other people that may have gone through these things that you've seen and ask to speak to them. There are so many people. I've talked to tons of people. It was just such a flood of information, and we were sent down to the cafeteria. Here's some free lunch, and then go into the chemo room. and they were going to put a shot in my stomach to basically kill off the estrogen in my body. And I remember at that moment thinking, what are we doing? What are we doing? What are we doing? And in those moments and in those decisions that we made, we prevented ourselves from ever having children. Now, I was a little bit older in life. My husband is a little bit older than me. We had gotten married later in life, but we had not officially closed that door and said we weren't going to. And so all of these decisions led us to be child-free. So if you don't see kids in my videos, if I'm talking about gardening and I'm not sharing like how the kids can do this in your life, I don't know. I don't have those experiences. After that initial visit, they scheduled the mastectomy, and we did decide, pretty heavily thought about it, prayed about it, to go with a bilateral mastectomy. And so we did both sides, and they also did a partial hysterectomy at that time. And then following that were surgery after surgery after surgery. And I just say it is like when Humpty Dumpty falls and they try and put him back together again, it was constantly putting me back together. And then there were scar tissue issues, and so there'd be another surgery to fix scars and then fix more scars, and then moving fat from my stomach and doing fat transplants and all of these different things to fix me. And I really felt bad during all of that because I was not in a mental space to be a good friend. I feel bad for that. I was very consumed by my own thoughts. I was probably not the best wife. And you are just in this pit, and just heavily relied on my Christian beliefs. And Psalm 103, if you got a Bible, please read it. That was something that I stood on, knowing that God was bigger and brighter and stronger and loved me more than I could even fathom, was just the core of what got us through every single time. And I'm bringing all of this up, and why I'm feeling compelled to share this story today is because I just ended another surgery. So I'm about 4.5 weeks from my last surgery, and we have now completed a full hysterectomy. And I was thrown into menopause at 36 years old overnight, and no doctor cared. It was just get the cancer out. That's all we care about. We don't care about your quality of life down the line. We don't care if your body thinks you're 80. We don't care if your hair's falling out. We don't care if you're immediately turning gray. Your skin is drying. You're tired. Now I have, bone loss in my lower back, and I have to have bone testing done all the time. And there was just no fixing it until we really started doing some research on different doctors and doing homeopathic doctors. And it kind of lines up with all of our homesteading and our gardening and why we like to have more natural things and why we like to grow things, and we know where they're coming from. Now, do I eat perfectly healthy? No. Do I go out to fast food restaurants sometimes? Yes. But we're always trying to make those healthier choices for ourselves if we can. And so going to a doctor that would actually do food allergy testing and what was the root cause of why I got the cancer. The oncologist never cared. They didn't say why I got it, just here it is. This is what we're going to do. We're going to throw you in surgery. We're going to rip your body apart. And all these years later, you're going to continue to struggle and struggle and struggle. Until I finally got to someone who said, we are going to adjust what is wrong with your body. We are going to start fixing these things. And when I started doing that, some of the organs that were left in my body were reacting in not a great way. And so because we could not have children, because that chapter was closed and there was no reason why I didn't have a full hysterectomy way back at the very beginning in 2011, now in 2023, we decided to finish that chapter and do another surgery. I was involved with Susan G. Komen for years at the beginning. I was doing fundraisers. I was actually a 5-year Cancer Survivor Award winner, and I have an award from them because of all the work that I had done. So I was so involved in all of that. And as the years went by, I kind of started to pull myself back, and I hate the color pink. So if you guys see a lot of teal and green, that is kind of like my new thing. I got bombarded with pink. You know, the gifts are wonderful at the beginning and everybody's trying to show their support. it just becomes so overwhelming that you just don't want that color anymore. And so I left all of that behind and thought I just want to live. I just want to live. And I don't want this title and this stigma stuck to me. And that's why I've always been kind of like hesitant to really share what I've gone through. And people are like, you're so strong and you're such a survivor and you did all this. It's really hard even as a quote unquote survivor to take that, because I don't think I was strong. I don't think I did anything. I woke up every morning. I went to a doctor's appointment if I had to. I just did what I did, and I prayed, and I had an amazing family behind me and an amazing husband behind me, and just that support, just guiding you every step of the way and holding your hand and being there when you needed to cry in the middle of the night. I've had so many friends from church. We were on a praise and worship team, and there have been people that were surrounded my life who are no longer here. And we've had family members who are no longer here. And there is this survivor guilt, and I hate to even bring it up or admit it, but sometimes you wonder, why am I still here? What is my purpose? Why did I get through this point? What am I going to do with this time that I have? And I think that's really what started kind of bringing up in me that I needed to talk about it. If I have this platform and I'm doing this and I'm telling all of you what's going on with my life, then maybe it's a purpose. Maybe it is encouraging you to love on the people that are in it, encouraging you to be strong, and you can get through it too. Here's to just a new chapter of life. I've been doing YouTube for about 2.5 years now. In the fall, it will be 3. I can't believe it. I absolutely love it. I guess I just really wanted you all to know this part of me and open up about it. And I'm not afraid of it. And I'm not going to hide it, because it is a part of who I am. It's created who I am. It has made this life now for my husband and I, that it is just the two of us. And that's okay. It's okay. Whether we chose it or not, it's okay. If you're in a place and it doesn't feel good right now, there is a tomorrow. There will be another day. And we just have to live it. We have to live it the best we possibly can. And we have to embrace it. And I don't every day. I could be doing so much more, but I like my simple life. We're going to keep growing this channel. I'm going to keep loving on you as my supporters and my subscribers. And I hope with all of my heart, I can teach you something and you can teach me that I'm still here for a reason. What that reason is, I don't know, but I'm still here.